go ahead. I'll say it. Really, you know what he was as a coach, and that's what he showed. And you can get a team ready for the postseason. But seeing them start now, what's impressed you the most?
I mean, you can see their level of continuity, the way they're playing. Having had a group of guys with CJ in back-to-back years, you can see they're ahead of most teams in the league. And they're deep and big and physical. They play in the paint more than most teams. I mean, it's nothing for them to have 60 points in the paint. A lot like us, they have a couple of guys that can play in the mid-range, and they can go into the post with Valanciunas, with Zion, and Brandon. And they don't have a prototype point guard, but CJ, I think he was a point guard in high school and in Lehigh. So they're one of the more complete teams in the league. And I've told you guys countless times what I think of Willie as a coach. The amount of things I learned from him. It's one of the reasons why we stole him from Golden State. It's the person he is, but also the coach that I always felt like he was, even as a player. Just so smart, had a great feel for situations. Wasn't afraid to challenge me on things that I needed to be challenged on. They're a tough team across the board, man. That team's gonna be good for a long time.
Younger was just saying, you just said similar. How similar do you feel like your team is this year?
I mean, if you took did something to take the faces off and you watch their plays, you watch how they play, you watch some of the defensive schemes, like you almost see the same team. And I think that's why the series was so physical and chippy, because you're out there running the same stuff at times, and they know what's coming, you know what they're running, and it's just like, so that makes the game fun. At the same time, I've seen him add his own wrinkles on both ends of the floor. And I think anytime you work with someone, you take what you've learned from that program and then you add your own stuff. I don't think any of us are inventing anything. So I see some nuances and wrinkles in their program that are a bit different from us.
Coach, what have you seen from Trey Murphy so far? His scoring is really.
I mean, he's a guy that didn't even name him. I mean, he's long, he's confident. The shooting, at some point, he was shooting like 60-something from three. And he's a better athlete than people give credit or talk about. He and Herb on the floor at the same time. It's like they got 2 6'8", 6'9" guys out there just all over the place. He's more than a shooter. He reminds me a little bit of Cam in the way that people perceive Cam Johnson. They only look at Cam as a shooter. But you see him in practice, you see the plays he's making in the game, you're like, man, this guy has more dimensions to his game than people are giving him credit. I feel the same way about Trey. I feel like the experience that all those young guys got in the playoffs last year has helped them tremendously over the summer, and you can see the benefits at the start of this season.
From your time in the league, is that something that you guys went on a finals for the first place, so it's a little bit more different, but over your years in the league, is that something where year to year you start the new regular season, you see some young guys who went through the playoffs for the first time and you can just see the difference in them?
Yeah, I think it's hard to fabricate those types of days in practice. You have to, in my opinion, you have to be in those environments. For us, the bubble was a great experience for us because we just couldn't lose. We were going to have a shot. We could not lose. And even though we didn't create that pressure, it was there. And you dealt with it and you were like, okay, we might as well use this to our advantage. They had the same thing. I mean, they had to win the playing game to get into the playoffs, and then they beat us up and almost got us. I mean, if you're really going to shut down the corn, man, they almost got us. And And I think that builds confidence for any team, but especially a young group that's getting a chance to experience that at such a young age.
Coach, when it comes to punishing some of those mismatches with your big guys, what does it do for kind of continuity with different lineups when you're able to have DA hitting those deep seals and then Jock coming in and doing kind of the same thing?
I think, we hope the teams keep playing that way. We're going to try to grow that environment for sure. And I think it gives those guys confidence that we'll keep going to them. And they have a smaller guy on them. But I think the one thing we need to grow in that is it doesn't always have to be a toss inside for a post-up. It can be an attack. And I thought that's what we did much better in the Clipper game. They would switch, and we didn't settle for the post-up. There were times where we drove the big, and I think that's the other part. If you want to generate threes, because that's why teams switch. They feel like that big guy can't hurt us, or they're trying to take away threes. Well, you can still generate threes with a 1-5 drive and force some collapse up and then find guys on the backside. So I hope that we can grow that environment. And to your point, that could give us a bit more confidence with that group.
How much does that, not that the big guys aren't engaged if they don't get the ball in that scenario, but how much of a boost does that kind of get when you?
I think it's, it is deflating when you have a smaller guy on you and you don't get the ball. I don't care who you are, it's just human nature. You feel like you're wasting a possession, So I don't mind that. I want guys that want the ball down there when they have a big guy on. And I think it does give those guys confidence when you trust them. And Chris and Book are usually the guys initiating that, and they have the utmost confidence in our bigs when they have a smaller guy on.
Monty, to your point on those 0.5 drives, Damian has been super aggressive in those 4 games. Do you see that experience level of him playing with Steph against recovering defenses and knowing what to do?
Yeah, I think it, a lot like Willard. We stole Willie from Golden State. Now we stole D-Lee. They bring it's not even about the championships. The championships are a part of it because some days D-Lee will start talking about something and I'll just sit there and listen because the experience and his know-how is tremendous, but the way that they play is similar to how we play. He's brought a level of cutting and slashing that we didn't have across the board, and now you're starting to see Book do it. Book's a good cutter, but he expends so much energy with the ball. Sometimes it's just hard to cut, and when you see Book cutting baseline and Mikal finding it, it's like you wonder if that's a residual of just watching Mikal and D-Lee and Cam do it. Book's like, okay, I'm going to join that party too. So I'm hopeful that all the stuff that he's learned there, it will benefit us.
Coach.
Can y'all let the lady go? She's tried twice.
There are rumors going around, which are good rumors, that President Barack Obama is part of a group that wants to purchase the team. How would you feel having him a part of the organization and that he's even interested?
It's, for me, I don't tend to make comments about speculation, but I think anybody would value a partnership with someone like that. For me, as an African American, even though you may have differences of opinions on certain views politically, whatever that looks like, someone who's been through those kinds of experiences from a leadership standpoint, I would love to just pick his brain and just sit and listen for hours about life and decisions and things like that. So I've heard that also, but it's hard to speculate on that because I'm so locked in on the season. But when I did see that on the site. That's my social media platform, in case you didn't know. Hashtag I don't have any other. When I saw that, I thought, that's pretty cool. I think it speaks to what the guys have built here, our players, to have people, wanting to get involved with purchasing. How do you purchase it? You spend that kind of money.
You're asking the wrong people.
I got all my friends are broke. I don't have any money. I don't have any friends that have that kind of money. All my friends are
But it's awesome. There's a lot of people dying to buy, but trying to get together to buy it. So they all
Well,
be
I
part of
think,
the Suns.
yeah, the city is tremendous. The practice site, the arena, and then you have a core group like we have. Like that's inviting to any group. So I would imagine, if I had that kind of money, I'd be like, I don't. So I'll be at CVS this evening getting some stuff. Those guys don't come to CVS. I'll be at CVS as soon as I leave here. I gotta go to CVS.
That's why it's a group, though. It's a group of people.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. It's way out of my wheelhouse.
My question was about last year's first round series. The rebounding was the issue against the Pelicans, and having a guy like Jock, stretches the defense when he lets it fly. So you didn't have that last year in JaVale. So how do you feel that might bring a new look, having a guy that brings maybe Hayes or Nance or even Valanciunas the reaction time and getting having to stretch out on him and close out and crashing the board?
I mean, I think anytime you have a guy that, we were talking about this the last few weeks, anytime you have a guy that can possibly dive or pop, it gives the defense indecision. Like we struggle with it. We talk about it all the time. Anytime you have a pick and pop big who can possibly dive, it causes you to think of it a little bit more. Maybe that helps you on the boards. But in respect to rebounding, a lot of that's just will. A lot of it is just being locked in and finishing a possession with contact to go pursue the ball. When you look at the numbers, our first shot defense against most teams was really good, but especially in the series, we just couldn't recover rebounds like we needed to in those games that we lost. So it certainly would be a point of focus for us tomorrow.